Do you sometimes feel unseen, confused, overwhelmed, misunderstood by your autoimmune disease, your MS? I did for a long time. There weren't a lot of answers back then. So I am Cathy Chester, your host of Move It or Lose It podcast, where we talk about all things that move the mind, body, soul, and spirit. And on top of that, in combination, we have lots of patients that come on and share their inspiring stories, along with experts in their field that will come on and teach us, make us aware, and help us understand what's going on mentally, physically in our bodies, and how movement is so important, but community is so important. So I invite you to be a part of Move It or Lose It podcast, where you will not be alone. You'll hear lots of stories that'll make you sometimes cry a little, but laugh and be a part of this community. So I welcome you to join and come on in, take a listen and a look at Move It or Lose It podcast. Thank you so much. Well, welcome to another edition of Move It or Lose It podcast. So I have to say, I've got chills and I'm a little nervous because this is a podcast that I dreamt of like 6 years ago when I would listen to podcasts and think, I really want to do this, but owning a gym, I didn't have the time to do it. And so now I do, and I get to interview the person I've wanted to interview the most. And so I'm very excited. So she happens to have the same name I do, but with a C. So the name of this podcast is called Cathy Chester Squared. So hopefully you get the humor of that. So with no further ado, Cathy Chester, welcome to Move It or Lose It podcast.
Thank you, Cathy Chester. I don't think I'll ever be able to say that to anybody else, I doubt.
No, I was telling Cathy before the interview that when I was just beginning and they would say, oh, it's Cathy Chester. And I would say, and I had already been listening, I'm like, yeah, it is. I'm not lying, it is. But thank you for having a name that got me a little bit of interviews that I wouldn't have got.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, absolutely. I have so many questions, so much respect for you. Your diagnosis, of course, everybody wants to know that. Anybody who doesn't know you today, you need to understand what an amazing woman this is. You were diagnosed in 1986, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what fun was it then?
Oh yeah, tons of fun. So when I had all of these issues, like I was getting numb in my feet and my legs. I was having trouble using my hands, and I was just incredibly fatigued 24/7. And I was very, very weak. And I was working in Manhattan at the time, and it was very hard because I'd have to get to the bus terminal and get home.
Right.
And it was just ridiculous. So one day when I was walking in the bus terminal and I wore my big heels, and one of my heels came off, and I didn't notice it because my foot was so numb.
Right.
And I looked back 10 feet and there it was in back of me with all these people running over my shoe.
Right.
So I knew I had to get to a doctor. So I went to a sole practitioner, to a neurologist.
Because we're in 1986, so
1986, there were no medications, no internet, nothing. My diagnosis was pretty quick. In those days, I had a CAT scan, and they weren't using MRIs, spinal tap.
Spinal tap, I was going to say.
Lumbar. Yeah. So those two, it was conclusive that I had MS. And my parents insisted I go to New York City for a second opinion. And that neurologist, concurred. And interestingly, he told me that there would be a cure in 5 years. So,
did you know do we know what it is? Are we missing it?
I would have announced that by now. We would have been in a different business, so.
Right. You mean you didn't want to be an influencer for MS?
What was an influencer back then? Tell me when there was no internet. So I didn't know anyone with MS. No. And so I just National MS Society was really it.
Right. And we talked about that. Yeah. So it was back then. So was it phone calls and snail mail? Is that how you got through to them?
Yeah, it was phone calls, it was snail mail, and of course you're waiting
Email?
for the mail to arrive. Email?
Right.
What's email? There was no email. Oh, you youngster. No, there was nothing. No, it's phone calls. Nobody was using computers back then. There
Right.
was
No,
nothing. It was so
no.
archaic. So, yeah, and my neurologist had the wisdom to tell me to go to an MS center where
Okay.
they have doctors and nurses and therapies and law. They have a library and
Right. Now, where
so
was
forth,
this
all
MS
under one
center?
roof. So this MS Center, which was one of the first, was in Teaneck, New Jersey. I live in New
Okay.
Jersey, and it was a safe place for me to fall, literally fall. And my first nurse practitioner told me right off, do not let MS be the sum total of who you are. And I will never
Wow.
forget those words. And she was
Wow.
right.
Yeah.
So they embraced me and my family because they didn't know. We didn't know.
Right.
And that's so we were off. But back then, a neurologist told me when they diagnosed me to give up my job, give up my apartment. I lived on my own and move back home with my parents and just wait until an exacerbation came and call them and they would give me steroids. And so I did all of those things. If you
Right.
can imagine, I was 28 and I didn't know anything. I
Sure.
had a boyfriend, a serious boyfriend, and it was quite scary. And so
I bet.
that was how it
Wow.
started. So I don't think it can get any lower than that at
No,
the
that's
beginning.
pretty terrifying. And I honestly can't imagine. I can't imagine. I can't imagine having nowhere to turn, nowhere to look.
It was
I just,
lonely, and the MS Center was very helpful, and I was very lucky that my family and my boyfriend were very supportive. I
and you've
married the
had your
boyfriend,
family.
and it's
Yeah.
33 years this year. So
Yay. Very nice. Very
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah,
Love those
yeah.
stories.
Happy story. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
obviously he's
yeah,
been supportive throughout this entire thing for you.
he's totally supportive. He's my advocate. He's my memory a lot of the
Yeah.
times. He's my
Yeah.
reminder system. And also now he also writes for one of the MS websites as a caregiver. So
Yeah. I love
he's
that.
in it full boat. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
was
want to do a
blessed.
lot more of that with my podcast and really, really give me time to do even a Zoom podcast with the caregivers because they never get enough credit. And
No,
I saw
they
your
deserve it.
post that you did the other day. I loved it that if you haven't seen it, if you don't follow the other Cathy Chester with a C, the Cathy Chester, then I love your Instagram posts where you let the boys, your son and your husband, go what they wanted to do, and you did and I thought it was such a beautiful time. It was just, it was very, of course, the word's not coming to my brain. It's almost there. It starts with an S. Spontaneous. Woo, got it. Okay, it was very
Yay.
spontaneous that you got on, which I always think is brave. You got on and you talked about this is what I'm doing, and I want you to know that sometimes they need a break too, because I don't think we talk about that. And it really, that day I just happened to see it in the morning, and I just thought, you know what, that really gave me an opportunity to thank my spouse, and I think gives others an opportunity to thank whoever that person is in their life.
Well, I think we all need to pause sometimes because our lives are so filled with thinking about our disease, really, and how to take care of it. And we all get, it's called self-care. But the caregiver, whoever that may be in your life that's helping you, certainly just gives up a huge part of themselves to be that advocate for you
Yes.
and your friend and your support system. And it's so important to take care of them as well. And so
Yes.
that day, it was funny. I also think it's very important to be authentic.
Mhm.
Social media is filled with everybody's most beautiful moments, and that's not reality. It's
No.
not reality. So I wanted to show them this is 62. This is what I look like in the morning with no makeup. This is what
Yeah,
I look like when I go walking.
I
And
love
this
that.
is my way of saying I love you to my husband and son who care for me
Yeah,
all the time. And I think that there's a message there that we all need to take care of each other
yes,
because we are all in this together. And it
yeah,
was an important thing, I thought. I'm so glad that you enjoyed that because I loved
yeah,
getting the feedback
very
about
much.
it. Thank
I
you.
think I watched it 4 times. It just, to
Oh,
me, it was very inspiring. I think, like you said, we can get into a spot where I believe that um, we're so focused on the pain and what's going to happen next, the scary stuff. And I think a lot of times when that happens, I think for us, it becomes, we're so self-absorbed, not meaning to. And then when we're advocating and doing stuff like you're doing and I'm doing, we get focused on that and we forget that the person or people holding us up so that we can do that. So it
that's
really just,
exactly it. That's
yeah.
exactly it.
So I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
it
yeah.
was beautiful.
Sometimes
So
our head will explode with everything that we need to ingest with medications or with
right.
supplements or with the issues or pain is quite a leveler, in life. So you're so filled with that, but we all need to take care of those who are taking care
Yeah.
of us. They are
Yeah.
so deserving of it. So
Absolutely. And even if you can, physically you're exhausted, make an appointment. I've called sometimes a friend of his and said he needs to go out for a beer. So take him out. Just knowing
exactly,
what that person needs, I think is important.
exactly.
So going back to you, Cathy, so what I was so impressed with, you're diagnosed, there's no answers, no people, you got this clinic you can go to, but you started advocating pretty quick right away. So what did that look like for you then?
Well, I don't know if that was the smartest thing, but it felt right to me. And so there was an opening in the local National MS support group. And I just felt like I had so much to give. I didn't know anything, but I wanted to do the support group. And so I would ask doctors, researchers, scientists, all kinds of people to come and talk to us for part of the time, and then we would have our own little chat, and it was pretty successful, but I felt that it wasn't right for me at that
Okay.
time, but I did really enjoy it, so I really got my feet wet with that.
Yeah.
I also would write letters to the editor back when newspapers, magazines were being read, and hard copy where you'd get your hands dirty from the print.
Yeah. I still like the smell of
Right.
that though. Still like to just open it.
Exactly. New York Times every day,
Yes.
but anyway, so I would write a lot and I would get involved. My family and I got very much involved in the MS Center. They had programs for the family. My father got on the board and so forth. So we were really involved in that. And so I really just loved talking to people with MS. I started speaking at small engagements all
Yeah.
around, northern New Jersey. And it went from there. Unfortunately, a lot of the things I did back then are not recorded. I can't,
Right.
post it
Right.
anywhere or share it with anybody. It's just
You're
not in
right.
print.
I
So
think about that too
yeah,
during it early on. And I was like, man, I wish that was recorded somewhere. I
yeah,
wish I could have put that on, FaceTime Live. Wish that was around then. But
right,
back
right,
then
right.
we did our best to lead support groups and stuff and do the best we could. So
Right. And it
you
was
did
a
a lot
good
of that.
networking thing. I did.
Yes.
And the MS Center, the patients and the people that worked there, we became a family. And we
Yeah.
did and we did a lot of fundraising for them. So I started to meet people that way and it felt really good. And
Yeah,
then
I'm
when my
sure.
husband and I got married, we would do things together too. And we did a
Okay.
lot of the walks, like the shirt
Yeah.
you're wearing now.
Yeah.
We did that a lot, and so it grew incrementally. It grew on until the internet. But before the internet, and before any medications, I had 7 years of no medications.
Wow.
There were none, so I was praying for that.
What did you
So
go
that
on
was
first,
quite a time.
Cathy?
The first one that was available was Beta Seron. I think
Right.
it was 1993. And I
Mhm.
went on that and I had side effects. So then the next one was Avonex.
Right.
And I went on that and I had side effects. So finally, when Copaxone came out, I went on that. Used to have to reconstitute it at
Right.
first, and it was 7 days a week. And
Yes.
so I was on that for 22 years.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, because I did well on it, but I
Wow.
got needle fatigue. That was the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
surprises me that you were able to stay on it that long.
I was, because I didn't have any side effects and I didn't
Wow.
want to jump over to something else that
Right.
I might
Right.
take a chance. It wasn't
Definitely.
until I recently went on Ocrevus that I
Yeah.
switched and I don't have to do it myself anymore.
I did.
And it's twice
I
a
was
year.
on Avonex with you because back then
Oh
it was,
yeah,
you were given, like I always say, the glossy pamphlet, the
right,
VHS. And so back then, so I'm aging myself.
right,
I had a
right.
VHS and it had a person briskly walking. That could be you if you lived, and then or a slow bicycle
I don't
ride if you
remember.
lived, and then
Yeah.
and
Oh,
then you got
that's
to decide. And I always laugh because I'm like, what cardiologist says you had a heart attack, your heart's in trouble? What do you think? I think only in our world does this happen, where glossy pamphlets are given and you're supposed to make a decision. So I too started Ocrevus. I'm due
yeah.
again in October and nervous. I'm not
Yeah, me too.
doing
I
great
go
on it.
next week. I'm going.
Okay.
You're
Let me know how you
not
do.
doing well?
I don't feel great, but I was on Tysabri for years, like you, and why mess with a good thing? It was
I was
almost like
never
I
on
signed.
Sabri. Oh, I see what you mean. You mean you were
Yeah.
on a medication for years.
Yeah,
I'm
and
sorry. Go ahead.
it did great. No, I was on Avonex, same with you. It just didn't keep me out of relapses. And then I did chemotherapy for a bit. And then I did, then when Tysabri was available, I was on that and I did phenomenal on it. And it was not until right before COVID. I was watching my stepson graduate from the Naval Officer Academy, and I got a call that I was JC positive. I'm like, of course, it's always at a weird time, right? Always at a birthday, some
Absolutely.
big event, and you're like, I have to keep my crap together now because this is a big event. So,
Right.
so now I'm on Ocrevus as well. So how are you? How long have you been on Ocrevus?
I should remember. I think it's 3 years.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's 3 years.
So
Yeah.
how
There
are
was
you
a
feeling?
gap. How am I feeling? Well, I thought I would feel better. I guess I had too high of an expectation from it. That said, I have no new lesions, but as we know,
Good.
the lesions, the MRIs don't always tell the full story.
Right.
I think also you don't know where, because I've had MS for 34 years now, you don't know if an issue is due to aging or if it's due
Right.
to MS. Where does it start
Right.
and stop? So I have slowed down my walkings a little
Yeah.
slower.
Mhm.
Stairs are more difficult.
Yeah.
Things like that, and I have gut issues. So anyway, I had the expectation that the Ocrevus would do more for me, but it didn't. But I had a long talk with my neurologist, and we decided that I should stay on it because I don't get any side effects from it. I don't
Right.
have any new lesions, and I was thinking about going on Kesimpta, but why would I? Because it's the same B cells. So,
Right. Right.
and I
Right.
don't want to try anything else. So for now, I'm gonna stay on the Ocrevus, and hopefully,
Yeah.
I'll be stable.
Right. And hopefully
Yeah,
something for energy. I thought about that.
yeah.
Because I don't feel the same as I did with Tysabri. And so the same with you. I've heard that back and forth when you have taken Tysabri for a long time and you've done well and you switch to Ocrevus, it doesn't always work so well. So we'll see. I'm going to give it another couple tries and we'll see how we do. So Ocrevus for
Okay.
now from you, and
Right,
then we'll see.
right.
So we'll keep in touch and see where you decide to go with it after.
Yes,
So the
we'll do a
fatigue is
Cathy Chester Square update.
exactly Cathy Chester squared Ocrevus, good or bad.
Yeah.
It's obviously everybody has a different, view on it. Some people do great on it, which is awesome.
Right.
So what I want to know now from you, so now you were on Copaxone forever, and then you switched over to Ocrevus. So moving forward, all of the things that you decided when the internet came up, so you moved into more advocating, you started doing more things, more writing, blogging. So what got you started? What made you think blogging is for me? It's something I really feel I can get my voice out.
Well, when my son was in high school, I decided that I really wanted to, because I was a stay-at-home mom, which was my choice. And because he went to school a little farther away from our home, and I would have to drive him every day, and it was, long story. But anyway, so I was thinking, what should I do now? And I went to school. I went to University of Miami online, and I got my certification in health advocacy, thinking that I would go out and be a health advocate for people.
Right.
But it didn't work out because they really want nurses, and I can understand that. So I
Yeah.
decided to marry my love of writing to my health advocacy,
Yeah.
and something that I've been doing all these years. And I started to blog because I figured if I started a blog to show who I am and what I'm capable of doing and my expertise, that I could get hired for different
Right.
initiatives and different
Mhm.
companies. And that's why that's when I started to blog. It's 10 years ago now.
Okay.
And I watched some YouTube videos and created it on WordPress. So just getting an update through a grant from Healthy Voices, and it's almost ready. I haven't.
Wait, you can't
I
go
kind
there
of
yet.
slacked off. Yeah,
You were going. You're way ahead of me. Hold on.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
say what
So
you're gonna
I'll back
start.
up.
Hold on. Back up.
So
Back up.
okay, sorry, I'm dragging
You're
on.
okay.
So I decided I really wanted to dig deeper into the advocacy, and through my blog, it really opened things up for me. I got to meet people from all over the world, and I also got to meet professionals from all over the world. And in the meantime, I was for a few years I was the official blogger for the Consortium of Multiple Sclerosis Centers and for the IOMSN International Organization of MS Nurses. And
Wow.
through them, I met, top doctors, top researchers, top scientists, and patient advocates, who I probably ordinarily, maybe I would have met them anyway in some way,
Sure.
but I would see them up in person. I would be in the press room, and I would really get to know them. So that way I could, in the beginning, I was the only patient really attending the annual meetings every year to meet them.
Wow.
And so I, was able to interview them and then write about it on my blog, or I used to be a contributor also to Huffington Post. And so through that, I could get the word out. My mission
Right.
is to empower, educate, and
Yes.
inspire people.
Yes.
But I also want the able-bodied community
Yes.
to know what MS is and what it isn't. So my blog was my way of becoming an advocate in a different way. And I found it very gratifying. And it was a lot of work, but it was all worth it. Yeah.
I think that that's so important. And as I've read through your blogs and stuff, there's even when, every single thing touches on a different, topic, a different feeling, emotion that we all have, different information, practical stuff, important things, things to look at to remember. I find it so fascinating. Blogging for me, one of my first symptoms was cognitive stuff. So it was like, all of a sudden I couldn't remember ways where I was going. I could not help my kids with homework. I couldn't add or multiply. So writing for me looked like where I was homeschooling my oldest, and I would give him like Lord of the Rings, the book with no punctuation, nothing in it, and say, okay, now you fix it, put the commas, put the explanation, you put it all in. And I found all of a sudden I couldn't do it. I didn't even know where anything went. And so I was like, what's happening to my brain? So for me and for other, what would you say? How would you encourage those who have so much to say and want to write, but don't have the ability to actually write right?
Well, look, when we're blogging, the most important thing to me is to be authentic. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. We're not, I don't know why. I'm thinking of, the authors that I really love, but we're not
Right,
classic writers. We're not going
right,
to, we're not going to get Nobel Prizes for
right.
literature. So we just have to write what we know.
Yeah,
And even if we are having cognitive moments, that's what you write about. And
right.
you write
That's
about it in
right.
the language that you want to write about it. There's no right or wrong with blogging. There's no good or
No,
bad. There's no judgment. It is just who you are. You're sharing your story, which is so important. Because if you reach even one person,
right.
that's the whole ball game. That's what makes it
Absolutely.
worth it. So you just go out there and do the best you can. And you're breaking yourself open. You're being
Right.
vulnerable. And
All
and
right,
and we
guys, did you
need
hear
more people
that
to
from
be
Cathy
vulnerable.
Reagan? Listen to what she said. So all of the people, my clients that ask me, I want to do this, I'm afraid, get out there. Just go. They want the information that you have. And when you've
That's
got good
right.
stuff, they want to hear it. So another thing I do is I have a girl that helps me. I put mine on memos on my phone. And then she helps me write it out so that the commas and you're not just reading a run-on paragraph, which is it's hard to read. So she helps me with that. So that's another way. There's always help that you can get to do that. But so I love the blogging. And then let's go on to your Lifetime Achievement Award. So what did that feel like? Like you all of a sudden, like, what did that even, did you know it was coming? Did you have, like, how much notice did you have before you received it?
Well, I just want to back up for 1 minute and say that you should also try out Grammarly, because I have that
Okay.
on my computer.
I'm going to
And
put that at the bottom of the show notes.
yeah, it really helps with spelling and punctuation, paragraphs, all of that. I have the free account, but you could of course
Okay.
upgrade.
That's
And
awesome.
that's very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse
Yeah,
me.
I don't have that.
So
So listeners, I'll put that on the bottom of the show notes so that you got that. Thank you.
great. That's great. Sure. So WeGo Health. WeGo Health is an amazing organization that they dedicate themselves to supporting, uplifting, educating advocates, and they do a
Right.
phenomenal job. When I started getting active with them, I really felt supported. And I was able to go to Dallas 2 years ago to meet advocates. There were 140 of us chosen to meet, and I met advocates outside of the MS
I think I
circle.
saw that. Was that when you were on John Strong's podcast? And I think you were.
I'm not sure I didn't meet John Strom at Healthy Voices.
Did you, because you were on one of the MS Talk, you were on one of his podcasts.
I was, but I don't know that we talked about that. I
Okay.
can't remember actually what we talked about. I've talked to him twice. Such a nice
Yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah.
So
I
they
remember that too. I
sponsor.
was listening to you on that.
Thank you. So WeGo Health and Janssen have this Healthy Voices. It's you apply to go, and it's a weekend of hearing different lectures and meeting and networking with different advocates from all different illnesses, which was the first time that I had really rubbed elbows with people outside of the MS community. And it was eye-opening, and it was rewarding. It was wonderful. So I really got involved in WeGo Health. Now, WeGo Health every year holds these awards that they give out. And I have been nominated for a couple of years, but I never expected to win one of them.
Right.
And this, well, it was really 2020 was, we were sitting there, they ask you to do a short video about why you became an advocate and submit it. And So when I won, I screamed because I really, the other advocates that were also nominated for the same Lifetime Achievement were all wonderful and have
Right.
vast resumes and all. So I was thrilled, absolutely
Yeah.
thrilled that I won it. And
Yes.
with that, I was on their patient board for a year, and I did a lot of activities with them.
Right.
And I really urge all advocates to join WeGo Health, because
Yeah.
they have a vast library of things that you could do through them.
Right.
And it opens doors for you too. And
Yeah.
you meet the most wonderful, wonderful people, the people that work for WeGo and the advocates that you meet.
Right.
It's
Which
just a
is so
great
important to know
organization.
that. Yeah. Because I think
Yeah,
like
because
what
we
you're
know each other's journeys. You don't have to
right.
explain why you're so tired, or why
Exactly.
you can't remember, or why you're in bed all day, or you don't have to explain. It's understood because we all are living
Right.
through it.
And having something that is so well known, and having that, I think the name makes you feel safe. Then
Mhm.
the crazy lunatic Instagram influencers that I see, that I'm like, what are you saying? What are you doing? So with my business in movement and fitness, unfortunately, my life has to be on Instagram a lot. And so the things that I know frustrate me as a trainer for MS and autoimmune diseases, to see all of the fraud stuff that's out there. More and more now, it's like, get this app and I can MS train you. And this influencer is, 5'10" and size 2 and has never dealt with anything in her life. And I'm like, what are these MS patients falling for? And know who you're working with. Know they care about you. Know that they want what's best for you to get moving. And so I love that you offer something that for other advocates, that is a place that that we can go, that that you've got people that have the same heart that you do. They're not there to promote themselves as the greatest influencer ever, but actually
That's
to get the
right.
message out and help others.
That's right. And now WeGo Health has merged with Health Union. And
Yeah.
Health Union, I've been writing for them for, I would say, 8 or 9 years.
Okay.
And so together they are going to really be a force to be reckoned with helping advocates and helping all of the communities that need help to lean on each other. And it's an extraordinary thing for me to sit back and see the landscape and how it's changed from 1986, where there was nothing, to this. It's
Yeah.
almost surreal to me sometimes,
So give
yeah.
me your favorite thing, the biggest change that you've seen. I know I'm saying just one that you've seen from then to now, that you can say, now I see it. Now I see the horizon. I see that progress is really being made.
Well, I would have to say medications, because I prayed for it for all those years. And when I became an advocate, it was very easy to keep on top of all the research, because there was hardly anything back then. And now it's just an explosion of medications, and
Right.
what's in phase 2 and phase 3, what's possible,
Yes.
what complementary medicines there are, and what
Yes.
works for some people and what works for other people. And so I sit back in utter amazement at the at what is taking place now, that is helping us live the quality of life that we deserve. And while I
Agree.
don't, in my heart of hearts, believe there will be a cure in my lifetime, I'm very confident that the next generation will have, I don't want to say we'll have a cure, but I'm really hoping in my private heart of hearts that there will be, and that
Yeah.
people will be able to do so much more. I wrote
Right.
that, I think, I think I wrote that somewhere, that they will be able to say, I used to have MS. And
I
wouldn't
think
that
that
be
was
the
in your blog.
most beautiful thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be, but no, my son has MS. So I often think that, you know what, I may not see, I don't believe that either. But what I do believe is that we keep advocating and pushing for those that are, you know, after us, and those
Absolutely. Yeah.
who
Because I
don't
think that
know.
there's more information and there are more, I mean, the clinical trials are so important for people to
Yes,
join as well, because we need that information.
yes,
And I just pray that the next generation, that there is a cure. There's so much, and plus things are being repurposed,
yes.
oh, now see, I'm forgetting now, the RA drug, Rituxan,
Yes, yeah,
yeah. So now, Ocrevus is similar. So you went from a rheumatoid arthritis drug to an MS drug. So
right,
things like that could happen.
right,
I want to
right.
add in there that when I first was diagnosed and I asked for a script to help me pay for yoga and Tai Chi, they laughed me in the face and just said, no, forget it. Now they're pushing these prescriptions on you.
Right.
Try the yoga, try, whatever complementary modality it is. Go give it a
I
try,
haven't
give it a
seen that
try.
as much in the like what I do with the MS patients. So my MS training is my own. I was under other people and I'm on my own, and I do MS. I've done it for years, and I just was able to shut down a lot when COVID happened and really repurpose what I wanted to do, and that was really working with my autoimmune clients. And, do I love to train my other clients? Yeah, but not the big classes. I wanted to work with that. So I agree with you. It's a different, it's different with movement, because, they'll be able to have prescriptions for physical therapy, which is not at all the same. They're not going to
No,
learn
no, no,
to
it's
be able
not.
to know. I mean, the movement that I do with them, the memorizing, the contraction, the different ways that they're moving the body, and watching them be able to do things that they could never do. It takes time, and it's
Hmm.
not physical therapy. It's actually focusing that mind body connection. And so that's been tough, because that, now that in 2020 it was finally said, I think the MS Society finally said yes to exercise, where it was 100% across the board. But it still is very hard to get, like all my MS patients, their insurance won't cover anything like that.
Yeah, I should preface what I said, that when back then I had a doctor that would give me a prescription for that. It's very difficult to get them to cover those things. Physical therapy is a whole different thing, because you're talking
Right,
about the movement of walking.
right,
And even occupational therapy, when I had to relearn how to hold a pencil and things like
right,
that. So that will all be colored, and balance is such an important issue, because you don't want to fall.
right.
So yeah, so they'll do that. I do want to go back to something else that you said, and it's really important that people with MS research everything, because there are a lot
Yeah,
of scams out there, and people that say that they will do this and that, or that they cure themselves, and you can do this
yeah,
too. Please be careful. Please research. Please ask around.
yeah,
Read. Stay curious. It's very
yeah.
important.
It
Yeah,
is,
because people are ready
because
to
we all
prey on
know,
us because they think we're
yes,
desperate, and we're not.
absolutely.
We
No,
one
we're
step at a
stronger than
time.
that. And, we can go into remission for a lot of years. And sometimes that tricks the person into believing that they're cured. And that
Right. But
terrifies me with our younger people. I see that a lot when
yeah,
I work with the
yeah.
younger people. They're like, I'm going to go off my stuff because it's been 6 months. I feel fine. And I'm like, so I see a lot of that still, that ignorance with our just not understanding what it is and the importance of not just jumping on and off stuff. But I
Right.
agree with you 100% that our young
Right.
people have to understand and read. And before you're an advocate for others, you have to know what it is that you have and know what it is that you need. And
Right.
I think that's so important, that our MS, especially our newly diagnosed young patients, I'm always like, that was the first how I got started, was talking to newly diagnosed patients. So now I talk to them all and work with them. But agree. I'm glad that you put that point out there because it's so important to research. And I would say
Yeah.
also, Kathy, one thing that I don't know if you feel this way, but I finally got up, I guess, enough care for myself that I was like, if you don't know, if I'm going to you and you don't understand what disease let's say urologist, and you're asking me about MS, you're not for me. I need an MS urologist. I need an MS. We forget that we can get neuro things, counseling, neuro things like that, where we think we're stuck with just a regular counselor, which may not work for us because they may not understand the fears and the stuff that we have. So I've been really trying to work with in my industry to look for the doctors that specialize in your autoimmune disease.
That's right, because there are more specialties available now. Like I just went to a neuro-ophthalmologist. I go to all the doctors that I use all have to know about MS because it's a specialty.
Right.
And if they're not, then I really move on, which
Yeah.
happens a lot.
Yeah.
You have to be your own best advocate. You have to take care of your health. You only get one shot at this.
That's right.
And you have to get, someone that is very knowledgeable in our disease because there's so much to know about it. And we're all different from each other. And
Right.
we all react to medications differently than each other.
Absolutely.
So it's really important to find out who those doctors are and get
Yeah.
referrals from your
Yes.
neurologist
Yes.
to go to other doctors. It's very important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I would have you, if you want to refer your, the neuro, which one are you going to now? A neuro-ophthalmologist?
Neuro-ophthalmologist, yeah.
Because I think that's a big one. And I remember years, I've always dealt with optic neuritis, and years just going to a regular ophthalmologist. And it wasn't until I heard somebody saying that even a regular ophthalmologist can see the optic nerve, swollen. And I thought was like, I've only known a regular ophthalmologist. I didn't even know there was another option. So I think it's really educating, and it's something that I love to do. That there are neuro urologists, there are neuro ophthalmologists, and so I think
There's
putting that
neuro
out there.
everything. Yeah. And I also just went for cognitive testing, which my neurologist just referred me to. I think that's important, even just to get a baseline, which I did when I was 30.
Okay.
And at 62, I got the next one. And I also, this is a little known, but because I have motility issues, bowel and bladder, I go for pelvic floor therapy, and she's well versed in MS, and we do different exercises. It's internal and external, and that's something that's not as widely known. But for constipation or for leakage or for whatever it is, which many people with MS have, that's another important therapy to give a whirl. And there are more and more out there that have specialized in it. So,
and I think being careful with that too. I have a urologist that I've always gone to, again, not a neuro one. So I was referred to one. He knew nothing about MS, pretended to, but again, it's really researching, asking the questions. Bring another person with you, bring a notebook with you. And if they don't, it's okay. You have the right to break up and walk away. You're not married to them. You can walk away.
Oh no. I always go in with my list of questions. And I went to one once that a neurologist had never looked up at me. And then he cut me short because he had to go. And I walked out. I never went back. So you have to do what's best for you.
Right.
You're not hurting anybody's feelings, believe me, but you're taking the best care of yourself that you possibly can. And also, this is why I love the MS centers, is because they not only have different people on staff, they can refer you out to something that you may need that they don't have. And you're well taken care of. And they popped up all over the world. So that's, so I would recommend.
And also, I think it's different having an MS nurse, where you're exhausted and she's, coming in there and just, what can I get you? So there's something to that when,
Well, I love the nurse practitioners because they look at the
yes,
whole person. They're not just
absolutely.
looking at your physical needs, they're looking at your emotional and your
Right,
spiritual needs.
right.
And I've written many times about the nurses because
Yeah.
I just think that they are, they go above and
Oh, yeah.
beyond what they need to do. And they're just wonderful, knowledgeable, compassionate, tolerant, all of that.
And don't get the
And yeah.
appreciation, I think, that they deserve.
No, but I hope they are getting it more because they really
Right.
deserve it. They really
I
deserve it.
My goal is to get one of my MS nurses onto the podcast because I think it's just really
Yes, you
important
should.
yeah. So that is so now moving on, Cathy Chester, I want to talk about now, not
I
just
think
your
you like
lifetime
saying that
achievement.
name.
I do. I'm just going to keep saying it. So
Okay.
so I heard you talk about a couple things that you've got coming up. You were really excited and you said you were getting a facelift. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't think you need a facelift, Cathy. I think you look great. I don't think you
Oh,
need one.
thanks.
So explain to our listeners what it is that is coming up with you.
So my blog is An Empowered Spirit, and I started it 10 years ago, as I said. And I just listened to a series of YouTube videos that some woman created, and that's how I created my blog. So I did think it needed a facelift. My blog, not me.
Got it. Good.
So Healthy Voices, which is supported by Janssen, which is part of Johnson and Johnson, they have an impact fund every year that you can apply to support different aspects of your advocacy, and you have to explain what you want. And I was grateful that I received a grant from them, and I wanted to update my blog. And so that's exactly what I did. I found a webmaster that is helping me do that. It's almost finished. I had some photos taken last week, and I did one really cool interview with an advocate that I think everybody will love seeing. And so that's going to be coming out pretty soon. And I'm excited about it because I took a step during the pandemic and thought, what do I want? I need to do something different in advocacy. And so I'd like to experiment with some things once my blog goes up. So I'm excited.
Yeah. So when you're talking about you interviewed, so is that the interview going to be on there? Just like audio?
It will.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a Zoom interview, so you'll see the person, and I think you'll get a kick out of it, and you'll learn a lot as well. So
love that.
Choosing advocates to interview, especially for my first one, is very hard because it's like choosing one of your children. But I just went with who I thought would be a good start, and and so I want, I stopped blogging in March, I think, and I took a break. I wanted to do some self-care and some, inner work. And also I was part of a group of women with a heart-centered business coach. And so I really worked with all of them. Yeah, I want to be able to do my job as an advocate to bring more to the community in the best way that I possibly can. So let's see.
I can tell you that we are going to be very excited. And when I saw that, I was like, yes. So excited to see what you've got coming up, excited to help out in any way, and just thrilled to see what you're doing. And also really important for me to show that MS, like we always say, it doesn't define us. And look at the things that we can do. Look at how old you're, 60. You say it. I'm not going to say it. And
that's okay. I say it all the time.
And you're still going strong. You're not giving up. You're not done. You're still going after it. You're still advocating even more. Now you're on a new journey. So I think it's important to, as we still breathe and have breath, and we still can share whatever that looks like, it's so important, and it feels so good to be able to advocate and help. So
yeah, it's what helps me breathe every day, because I know that I'm helping people, and in turn they're helping me as well.
Yes.
So there's a certain circle that's going on there where we're helping each other, we're uplifting each other,
Absolutely.
supporting each other, and we're loving each other. We're friends, you know?
Yes.
So
And
yeah,
that's
it's
important
very
because
exciting.
we know it can be isolating. So
Very.
it's so
Yeah.
important. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about it, Cathy. I thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
Thank
I'll
you
let, like
very much.
as our listeners will know, it will be on regular. You can listen to it on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and then it will also be on YouTube, on our YouTube station, on our Move It or Lose It Facebook. So thank you so much. This was an awesome interview. I know you guys are going to love it. I think it'll end up being 2 parts, but we'll see. So thank you so much, and have a great morning, day, evening, wherever time it is for you guys today. God bless.
And that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Another great interview in the books. So please remember to subscribe, review, and always I want your feedback so that I know what interests you. What are some topics that you guys want to hear? Hope you enjoyed it. Can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.